I would certainly consider that and think it would be worthwhile.
He's referring to Dennis Kucinich and you working with him. Yes, he has the subpoena power to do everything so. And then you say, and we'd have a better chance of getting a new investigation. Too often investigations on almost any issue is usually a cover-up. Kind of referring again and leading people to believe...
No, it's the same answer.
So, but do you have any, any reason...
It's covering up inefficiencies and ineptness and bureaucracies.
Okay. And that's fine.
So there's a big difference.
Exactly. And I don't think that many people would take any issue with that.
Okay.
When the government...
Why, if this is one person, out of thousands and thousands of people... I mean, to go to this extreme of trying to make a big deal of it, I think is a very biased type of reporting and questioning.
No, well, see, if you look at it that way, that would make sense, but it's not. I'm telling you, there is a broad perception, and maybe
I've
you're...
never heard of it. I hear occasionally that people will ask me about it, but I read the internet like crazy, and I rarely see it.
Really? Because every story that comes out with you, and all these videos of you talking to these kids are very big on all the file sharing.
Okay, but I don't have to defend what they do and say. I have to only defend my position, and I've just given you my position.
So your position then, and we'll get off this and get on to something else, your position then would be that as far as you are concerned, the official story from 9/11, and this is not about the government covering up their mistakes. This is about the suggestions from these people who you were talking to in this video that 9/11 was orchestrated by the government. You do not support that theory.
Absolutely not.
Okay, thank you. I think that'll clear up quite a bit. Now, to get on to something else here, we had John Edwards and Hillary Clinton a little while ago actually accidentally leave their microphones on during a performance they were both doing. And a lot of people talk about the third-tier candidates and second-tier candidates, and they were referring that they wanted to get some of these people out of the debate. What do you think about talk like that?
No, I think it's undemocratic, and so many of these people who contrived to do this have supported war to go into Iraq to spread democracy. It's rather ironic, I think, that they think our kids can die to spread the war and spread democracy. At the same time, they'll come here and say, well, we're not going to let so-and-so. How many times have they tried to, and on occasion have, kept me out of forums and debates? I mean, it was said from the very first night I was on, let's keep Ron Paul out of there. They don't want to hear the truth.
Do you think, though, looking back on all these things, do you think you're a victim of censorship in polling and in the debate circuit?
Well, I think it happens all the time. It has throughout history, but my job is to overcome that. It just happens that we have an ability to do this, to overcome, major networks, because we have the internet and we can get the truth out in a much better way than ever before. And there's more talk shows, radio talk shows that we can do. But eventually we have to prove ourselves, and then they won't be able to ignore us any longer. But, yeah, they're biased, but I think everybody's biased. I don't think anybody can be completely objective. If they do, they're deceiving themselves. So the whole thing is very biased, and it's a normal conversation, that conversation that Hillary had. I mean, there's nothing... No, but nobody should be surprised at that. This is the way so many politicians think. But that's, again, makes the point of why the people that support me are so outraged, because they don't want to have an alternative view. This is why the laws have been written so you can't even compete outside the two major parties, and unless you're a billionaire. But this is conventional wisdom. Nobody should be surprised that they talk like that.
I got another audio clip I want to play for you here, and this was during this Fox News debate, the first Republican debate. Presidential candidates got together, and this really thrust you into the spotlight for a second.
Are you suggesting we invited the 9/11 attack, sir?
I'm suggesting that we listen to the people who attacked us and the reason they did it. And they are delighted that we're over there, because Osama bin Laden has said, I am glad you're over on our sand because we can target you so much easier. They have already now, since that time, have killed 3,400 of our men, and I don't think it was necessary.
Wendell, may I make a comment on that? That's really an extraordinary statement.
And at that point, Rudy Giuliani jumped all over you for the comment. Now, do you wish, looking back, that you could have rephrased that or said it differently, or do you regret that comment at all?
Only if I could make it clearer, because everybody that has any knowledge whatsoever of our foreign policy and what's going on, and including researchers and CIA agents and the whole works, have defended my position. It's just that I could have been more emphatic and clearer, possibly. but the evidence is just outstandingly in support of what I'm saying, is that foreign policy has a consequence. Even Paul Wolfowitz, I found a quote of his that said, it was our base in Saudi Arabia that prompted, that contributed to, it wasn't the whole thing, that prompted and contributed to 9/11. The 9/11 Commission report did it. So I don't even know why anybody would debate this anymore. You don't hear Giuliani bringing it up anymore, because he knew people who should be surprised of him saying he had never heard this. That, to me, is the most astounding statement that we've had in the campaign, that he had never heard this. Well, where has he been?
In the end, you stand by your suggestion there.
Only more emphatically than ever before, because the process is continuing and more people are dying and more al-Qaeda are developing daily. I mean, we didn't have one single al-Qaeda in Iraq. Now we have thousands, and every single day the problem gets worse because people, the American people are waking up, but the leadership isn't. And too many people on our major networks won't listen to it. But if we don't realize the real reason why they come here and pretend and say, well, they come here because we're free and prosperous, we can't solve our problems. And we're going to have a lot more people die before this is all over. That's all. That's my point, and I just feel much stronger about it now than I did a month or so ago when that incident came up.
As you suggested, the tide is turning. You can see in the polling, and you can see in any kind of opinion polls done on the war in Iraq that the tide is definitely turning. You suggest, I believe, an immediate pullout from Iraq. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Now,
as immediate as you can. You can't do it in 24 hours.
Certainly.
But I would probably say that I have advocated coming home as quickly or more quickly than anybody else.
Now, aren't you worried about what would happen if that happened?